Let me ask you a question. If you were responsible for helping someone that you love, someone who's really going through it, how would you do it? You'd probably encourage them, right? You'd try to lift them up. You'd try to build their confidence, like give them hope. You'd meet them where they're at and let them know that they're not alone, right? Well, what if I told you that you need to treat yourself that exact same way? Because, well, most of us don't. Instead, we beat ourselves up. We shame ourselves. We tear ourselves down, and we just think we're not worthy of that same kindness. For a lot of us, it's not easy to actually look in the mirror and say, you know what, I'm going to treat this person with love, encouragement, respect. But that's what we're challenging you to do, because right now we're diving into one super important, powerful idea. Treat yourself as someone you're responsible for helping. A few years ago, I was listening to this podcast. It was this conversation between the host and then a doctor who was treating patients with MDMA or psilocybin in this controlled clinical setting. And this isn't random recreational use. These are like carefully monitored sessions where people grappling with deep trauma, depression, PTSD, they explore their minds in this like safe environment. And this is a very new science, but this doctor explained something super fascinating. He said, under the influence, that most people often find themselves transported back to childhood. Like this big door swings wide open and it reveals these memories, these feelings. They see themselves as this younger person, right? And it might have been buried or forgotten, but I think the most powerful part for me, when the patients see themselves as children, they feel this overwhelming sense of compassion. Like they're no longer looking at the adult who's made all these mistakes, who carries all this shame and regret. They see this small, innocent child themselves who is maybe hurt, scared, so misunderstood. And in that moment, they reach out with kindness. They forgive, they heal. Now, I don't think we need a substance to access that same compassion. We can actually do it right now. And it might feel a little bit weird talking to yourself like this, but trust me, it works. You can have this conversation in your mind, in your head, but if you close your eyes for a second, if you picture yourself as a little kid, maybe 5 or 6 years old, and you see that kid standing there, maybe with nervous eyes or a shy smile, about to walk into a world that's tough. You just ask yourself, would you ever speak to that child the way you're speaking to yourself right now when you're frustrated or disappointed? Would you tear that kid down? Would you call them hopeless? Would you say you're worthless? No, I mean, we would do the exact opposite. We'd tell them they're strong, that they're loved. We would say they're gonna make it through whatever comes next. And I think that's the secret here. By imagining our younger selves, we tap into this well of empathy that we often just forget as adults. Man, I know this simple suggestion on a podcast just made a world of difference for me. With my speech from the time I was about 5 or 6 years old, I had to climb one of the hardest mountains of my life just to speak and to be understood. And society can be cruel, right? Other kids can make fun of you. Teachers can treat you differently. And it just chips away at your confidence in ways that you sort of can't even explain when you're that young. You don't know these feelings that you're feeling. So I imagine standing in front of my 6-year-old self. I saw a scared, hopeful little boy stepping into this long, painful struggle with life. And I said, listen, buddy, you're gonna be okay. This is gonna hurt. People could say mean things. You're gonna feel alone, but you're gonna get stronger because of this. You're gonna grow into someone who understands others better because of what you're about to walk through. So if I can do that for my younger self, then why can't I do it for the current me? And then why can't you? Well, the truth is that you can, we can. You just really haven't been shown how. So I'm giving you that permission right now. It's time to treat yourself as if you're responsible for helping you. And it's not just about what happened to us as kids, right? I mean, if we fast forward, maybe as adults, we didn't always act the way we should have or respond to pain or insecurity in the healthiest ways. Maybe we turn to anger, addiction, to isolation, or even self-sabotage. We can't change what other people did to us, but we can look at how we reacted to that. And sometimes we need to forgive ourselves for those reactions too, because we could have lashed out. We could have actually hurt others, right? Hurt people. And maybe this was the best we could do with the tools we had at the time, right? We were just trying to survive. So I think here's where we can start. If we just close our eyes and visualize a younger version of us, this vulnerable version of us, like really see you, see their face, their eyes, grab a picture if you need to, and just talk to them. Again, this can be in your head, but tell them what you wish someone had told you, reassure them, lift them up. And then I think we need to bring that same compassion into the present. When we catch ourselves being too critical, just stop and ask, would I say this to this younger version of me? Would I tear that kid down, or would I build them up? Maybe we just have to shift our tone. We have to forgive ourselves for the past. I mean, we can't rewrite history, but we can stop replaying it as this source of shame and recognize you did what you could at the time, and then let it go. Move forward, determined to help yourself, not harm yourself with this weird judgment. This is how we change self-image. When we treat ourselves with compassion, we break these chains of shame and fear. We just start showing up differently. Our confidence will grow. Our standards become more balanced. And here's the best part, it ripples outwards. The more compassionate you are toward yourself, the more you're gonna lift others up. You become someone who shows up for the people around you because you're no longer tearing yourself down. I mean, how can you love others if you can't love yourself? So today I'm asking you to just treat yourself as if you're responsible for helping you. You can look at the child, you can look at yourself as a teenager, the young adult inside who faced so much without knowing that you had the strength or knowledge that you have now. And love them, forgive them, and then bring all that compassion into the present moment. And hey, if you feel weird imagining your younger self, well, that's okay. The things that really bring change usually start out feeling just a little bit different.